This is StoryRobot. Welcome to r/IDontWorkHereLady. Our story of today is, don't you know who we are? I had already switched from chef work to sommelier work, having left my first big sommelier job to take over as head sommelier, executive manager of a restaurant group. The city I lived in was the capital, lots of embassies and lots of politicians, so the high-end restaurants would often get large parties of politicians and ambassadors. Because of this sort of clientele, we had very high-end wine lists at all our restaurants, but not all of them were super expensive food-wise, and our house wine was very affordable, also had lots of good wine by the glass. This made some of our locations very popular as a lunch spot for servers who worked in the area. One cloudy day, I was sitting in a corner banquet, just doing paperwork, enjoying some moussaka roll-ups like eggplant parmigiana almost but rolled up and with mashed potato inside as well as the cheese, tomato and herbs. This was a specialty for this Greek mise restaurant. The server on duty was pretty busy. She was new and didn't know me, I knew her though. She was doing all right, serving everyone without too much problem. No one was waiting more than a few minutes to get attention. There was also a server from the restaurant across the street, not part of my group, but a regular, sitting and having a glass of house wine as she was organizing her tips from her shift. She looked like a server, in blacks, with a black short apron. Similar uniform to what was worn in our restaurant. In walks a bunch of people, group of 6, I recognize one of them as an ambassador's aide, didn't recognize the others, 4 guys and 2 women, one of whom had the classic Karen hairdo. They don't wait at the front where the sign says to wait to be seated. They walk right into the dining room, push 2 tables together and grab extra chairs. They're sitting sprawling, taking up lots of room in the middle of the dining room, talking loudly about how this place has a great wine list. One of them says he's going to order. They have now been in the restaurant for less than 2 minutes total. The server on duty can't see them from the corner where they do their side duties. She had been in the back serving the VIP room. At this point the group are already starting to complain that they haven't been served yet, which is when they notice the server from the other restaurant who is just enjoying her glass of wine. Ambassador's aide, substantially louder than it needed to be. Hey you can't drink on the job. Why haven't you take our order yet? Karen hairdo, not at all under her breath. I can't believe how unprofessional that girl is. Then to the girl, Wheel, have you fired for this? Do you know who we are? Ambassador's aide, this is an outrage. Not our server. Girl, oh sorry, I don't work here. I work at a different restaurant. I'm sure a server will be here to take your order soon. Karen hairdo, don't you give us that bull beep, you lazy good for nothing. At this point I'm already not liking where this is going, but I decide to wait a minute to see how the new server handles it. She has arrived with her customer service smile plastered across her face. Actual server, pardon me, I'm Mandy and will be your server for the day. Can I take your order? Karen hairdo, finally. We've been waiting here for 20 minutes, maybe 3 tops, with no service. And your colleague here didn't even get up to greet us. She's just getting drunk. You can't drink on the clock. Directed with malice at the innocent server girl from another restaurant. You need to fire her right now. I demand to speak to your manager. Do you even know who I am? I work for the redacted consulate. I could have both your jobs for this. It was at this point I finally recognized the lady. She was a receptionist for the consulate where she worked. I had seen her a year and a bit prior when she came with a large group for their office Christmas party. I could have stepped in at this point, but I was curious how the new server, Mandy, would handle this. Mandy in an apologetic tone, I'm so sorry but I didn't see you arrive. Normally people wait to be seated as the sign asks, so I couldn't see you all sitting here. Please don't badger our guests though. That lady doesn't work here and is a paying customer. I believe she works at another restaurant down the street. Karen hairdo cuts her off. Don't you dare lie to me, you little redacted racial slur. I eat liars like you for breakfast. Rest of the 6 are egging Karen hairdo on at this point, and I can see this may be escalating beyond what the server can handle. So I text the owner's son who lives upstairs. He's also a part owner in the group and sometimes does some managing of this location, happens to also be a bodybuilder and is huge. Less than 30 seconds later I get a, be right there text, from the owner's son. Karen hairdo, yelling in a shrill indignant voice, where is your manager? Get him now. You can't treat us like this. We are important people. Mandy was starting to look like she was going to cry at this point, and the not our server is shrinking back into the banquet as both of them were being yelled at incoherently by this group of 6 rude flunkies. At this point the assistant floor manager has arrived due to the screeching, but the 6 insane screechers are just ignoring her. I stand, take a couple steps toward them, take a deep breath and at the top of my lungs shout, quiet now. I was an actor in high school and know how to project, so my voice fills the room. Everyone stops their shouting and turns to me. Me, at a more reasonable voice level. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. None of you need to speak to a manager. What you need to do is grab your stuff and get out. I won't have you shouting at my server, or my guests. No one deserves to be talked to the way you have been. And before you indignantly ask me if I know who you are, I do. I know exactly who you are, and I know your boss, and your boss's boss, both of whom love eating here and would be appalled at your behavior. At this point, I notice Matthew, the owner's son, has just come in through the kitchen door, dressed in his gym gear, glistening with sweat like some sort of Greek statue of Heracles, 6'4" and nearly 300 pounds of muscle. The look on his face just screams, I just got here and I'm already completely done with this. I can see Karen Hairdo is about to protest, but I hold up my hand. And in my no-nonsense commanding voice, no, this is not a discussion, get up, and go, now. Karen Hairdo in an injured indignant tone, well I never. Me, matter-of-factly, and you never will again, you can consider yourselves banned from this establishment. Matthew, owner's son, part owner, rather louder than he really needed to be, get out of my restaurant and don't even think of coming back, you're all going on the black list. Matthew's colossal form starts moving towards them and it seems the look on his face was enough to end any further discussion as the group grab their things and rush out of the restaurant. I thank Matt for coming down and interrupting his workout for the assist. The manager comps the not our server's meal and wine for her marred experience. Our server is told she did nothing wrong, that it's okay, she's not in any danger of being fired and in fact handled it about as well as she could have, she is given the rest of the day off with pay. The group each have a headshot pulled from security cams and are added to our digital blacklist, but it doesn't end there. I call the consulate and talk with the ambassador who is appalled by the behavior of his staff, all of whom arrive back at the consulate that day to find they had been fired for attempting to use their job to bully others. He comes in personally the next week to apologize to our server, manager and the owner's son in person, and assure us that the group no longer work at the consulate. Moral of the story, never use your position of perceived power to bully others, you may well end up losing that position. Our final story of today is, Karen recommended I be fired from the dollar store. I was in a dollar store trying to check out but delayed because Karen was busy complaining to the cashier about the quality of the products in the dollar store. To which I said, Karen, if you don't like the quality here, then go somewhere more upscale like Walmart. Or if you got the budget, Target. She then asked for a manager, cause that's what Karens do. Manager came and for the next solid 2 minutes she was complaining to the manager about how her staff was very rude and suggested she should shop at Walmart or Target, how insane it is to hire staff that promotes the competition. The cashier is smirking, I'm smiling from ear to ear. Karen finishes off with, if I was you I'd fire such an employee. To which the manager said, which employee said that? To which Karen and the cashier all pointed at me, they're standing with my Coke and a bag of chips. To which the manager goes, Mrs., he's not an employee, to which Karen goes, then why is he here? Manager looks at me and looks at her and goes, buying stuff. Thank you for watching. Error. Problem detected. Not enough subscribers. Please subscribe, like and comment.